So moving on with integration, we're now going to learn what's called U substitution. Basically, this is our way of doing the chain rule in reverse. So in order to do it, we're going to have to replace something that essentially is the baby with U. In these first three cases, they've done a good job of showing us du directly after u, which is going to make it much easier. You'll see in future problems, it's going to introduce fractions or negative numbers when we don't have the proper u. So in this case, for the first problem, the integral of 8 minus 5x cubed times 5 dx, this 8 minus 5x cubed is really my chain rule. It's a function of x being taken to a power. So when I set up u substitution, I'm going to set u equal to this whole function of x. In this case, 8 minus 5x. I then need to take the derivative of u. When I take the derivative of the left side, u becomes du. When I take the derivative of the right side, 8 goes to 0, negative 5x becomes negative 5 dx. So, once I know what u is, once I know what du is, our goal is to go from the worlds of x's to the worlds of u's. So, I'm going to change the integral. Instead of saying 8 minus 5x to the third, I'm going to say u to the third. This says 5 dx. I want negative 5 dx. So, really what I'm going to do is multiply a negative 1 inside and a negative 1 outside. This negative 1 outside makes this negative 5 dx into exactly what I need to replace it with du. So the integral becomes negative 1, the integral of u cubed du. What originally started with x's has now moved to u's. I have no x's in the integrated equation, so I can go ahead and integrate with respect to u. U to the third adds 1 to the power, so it becomes u to the fourth. I divide by the new power over 4. This negative gets applied, and then the last thing I have to remember is because I don't have limits of integration, it's an indefinite integral, which means it has to have this plus c. I could stop right there if I hadn't substituted, but because I really want things in terms of x, my last step is replacing everywhere where I see a u and putting what u equals back into the equation. So this becomes negative parentheses 8 minus 5x to the fourth power over 4 plus c. When I look at the second problem, again, I'm going to identify what u is, something being taken to a power. In this case, it's the x squared minus 10 being taken to the sixth power. So I set up u equals x squared minus 10. I take the derivative. Du, this x squared becomes 2x. This minus 10 goes away. And then I need it with respect to x on this right side. So it really goes back to when we were doing implicit differentiation. When we had dy versus dx, if we take the derivative of u, it gives me du. If I take something with respect to x, a dx appears. So I want to replace 2x dx with du. I want to replace this 2x dx with du. It becomes the integral of this whole thing was u to the sixth du. When I integrate that, add 1 to the exponent, becomes u to the seventh, divide by the new exponent over 7, plus c. Last step, replace the u. So u equals x squared minus 10. It's now to the 7th power over 7, plus c. For number 3, here we have something under the fourth root. So the thing that's under the root sign is going to be our u. In this case, u equals x cubed minus 4. When I take the derivative, the left side becomes du. This 3 comes down, gives me 3x squared dx. And this negative 4 goes away. So my integral becomes, I could say it as the fourth root of u. Instead, I'm going to call it u to the 1/4. And then this 3x squared dx is exactly what du was. So du. When I integrate, I add 1 to the power. since it was 1 over 4, I'm going to be adding 4 over 4. That gives me a total of u to the 5/4. I divide by the new power, 5/4, and then I remember my plus c. Cleaning this up a little, dividing by 5/4 is like multiplying by 4/5. So it becomes 4 u to the 5/4. So in other words, it's under the root, 4th root, 5th power. And I'm going to put in what u equals, x cubed minus 4. So again, this 4/5 is just the new power, 5/4, flipped, because dividing by a fraction is like multiplying by the reciprocal. Then u to the 5/4 really means x third minus 4 to the 5th power under the 4th root. Last step, just remember that plus c.